Let me make sure we're live. We're live. Okay. Sup everyone, this is episode 36 of Game Player. We're missing quite a few people. Morgan is asleep and Kay is doing her thing and Ghost maybe is coming, maybe is not. We are three people and we're gonna ring it. Let me introduce our panel. Weeb, how are you? What you been up to?
Heads up, the Weep Sheriff. I've been playing still Dragon Guard 3. Um,
How
I'm now
long is
at,
that game?
well, Yoko Taro game, right? It doesn't end when the game ends. So
Fair, fair.
there's like 4 branches. So I've now at the end of branch C, and then I have to get branch D. So probably still quite a few hours left.
Mm.
But
Very
it's
cool.
very intriguing, so I'm keep on playing.
Mm.
Morgan
Okay,
is coming. Who are you talking to, by the way?
gotcha. And anything else you're playing aside of this?
Not the moment, no.
Gotcha. And Nate, how are you? What you been playing? Okay. As for me, I am playing what's called Celeste. I am literally one trophy away from platinuming the game. I already finished the
Nice.
main story and I already finished everything else in between. It's just I need now to beat the game on the hardest difficulty in the sense. And let me just tell you, it's not easy. So you can almost say uh, the final trophy is the hardest. And it's not like I couldn't get any other trophies beforehand because I needed to finish the second hardest before I get to where I'm at right now. And yeah, I have 4 more stages left. After that, gonna be done with the game. I enjoyed it for what it is. Uh, Some of it is super janky, and some of it works perfectly. But there is actually a mini DLC in it, and the crazy part is they introduce a new mechanic that is agonizing, that is almost feels like a cheat code in the sense of you need to do a few button prompts to make it work, but like it doesn't always work. And if I can't count on it for it to work, then I'm screwed. I'm not gonna be able to do anything when it comes to this level. Like I watched it on YouTube and like nah dude, the shit that he is doing or she, I don't know who the person is, it's like nah dude, that's insane. The stuff that they are putting out. And you need the perfect button prompt and I don't have that with this game. Other than that I bought a few games. I bought Marcus the Ninja Remaster. Anyone here played that game? Or ever heard of that game?
I've heard of it, haven't played it.
You have it?
No, I've heard of it.
Okay, you heard of it. I got it for $10 or less. There is a game also called Edge of Eternity. I got it for 20-ish bucks. I had to choose between Edge of Eternity or Astria Ascending. And Nate, you played Astria. How is Astria? Did Innate leave? Give me a second.
Still seeing it.
Oh, I see him as well, but he's just not talking. Okay. Um. I, um. So me and Chris Rackett, we were talking, and he told me about a game called Star Renegade. Renegades. Ever heard of it?
Renegades?
Star Renegades.
No, doesn't ring a bell.
So get this. First of all, it's an indie. It's almost like cyberpunky in a way, but it's a roguelike or roguelite. I forgot what one it is. Turn-based JRPG.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's for $15 right now on PlayStation. So I wanna get that. Ender Lilies is also discounted for $20. I also wanna get
I can,
that. Huh?
I can recommend that one. I played it.
You played it?
Yep, it's really good.
You finished it?
I finished it. Yeah,
How is it?
that's great. Great atmosphere. Looks good. Just
Gotcha.
a fun game. Yeah.
I love the uniqueness of it. Seems a good game. And there is also Prey of the God. That's also a game I want to buy. It's almost like the a spiritual successor of Shadow of the Colossus. That's also for $15. Other than that, yeah, no, that's it. Hey, you here now? Nope. Then let's just start the show. Then first topic is going to be it's confirmed. Final Fantasy is not 16. It's not going to have an open world. How do you feel about that, Weeb?
Well, to be fair, open worlds are overrated. So I don't have any particular issue with it. I mean, sure, it is. There are some great build open worlds like Horizon Forbidden West, but I also feel like yeah, it's kind of the default setting these days. Well, uh, I feel like uh, traditional, linear games or semi-open world, whatever you want to call it. Um, yeah, I mean, I generally prefer those because it avoids the risk of the world becoming too bloated, that you have so much to do that in the end you get fatigued. I mean, I even had that at some points with Forbidden West. So I'd say if they have like a focused, linear story, or yeah, it doesn't even have to be linear, but if you have a focused direction they want to go to, I mean, I'm all for it. I mean, it does look quite cinematic with the summon battles. So, I mean, you got to do what you got to do, right? I mean, if that's the direction you want to go, you should embrace that. So yeah, I'd say personally, I say that's a better step. At least for me, personally, I would prefer it indeed if it's not open world. So yeah, good news.
Gotcha. Um, Innate. F to Innate, you alive? Okay. Stop it, me baby. How are you doing? I'm disappointed in a way, cause I love open world, especially with Final Fantasy. Like that's literally um, open world is literally the definition of what Final Fantasy normally used to be. especially when you get your ship.
Yo, where did this man Omar go?
Huh? What did you say?
Apparently he can't hear you, I think.
Oh,
Omar is muted.
no, I'm not.
You mean on?
Oh,
How?
I muted him manually because last time he got on the PlayStation and wouldn't shut up.
Oh shit! Yeah, I forgot. I actually forgot that I had my chat turned on when I was playing with Ghost.
Yes, we
I'm like,
know.
I'm talking to you. What you been playing? No reaction. Then I asked you a question about Atria ascending. No reaction. And I'm like, okay, you're doing your thing. That's no problem. But you normally mute yourself, or you let
Yeah.
me know beforehand when you're that busy.
Nah, I couldn't hear you.
But you couldn't hear Weeb.
I could hear Weeb, but I was like, who is he talking to?
Ah, okay. Well, go ahead, do your intro. Also, one final second. Hit me, baby. Can you hear me? Okay, so we all can hear me. So it was just what's
It
called
was because I had you muted.
yeah, innate. Yeah. So go ahead, do your intro, innate.
No, just shoot, man. I've been playing. I actually went back to Final Fantasy VII remake.
Oh,
Um, so yeah, I've
which
been
one? Because there is integrate and there is the
no,
normal one.
just no. I'm playing the normal one right now because
Okay.
I was already pretty far, and
Ah,
I don't want to just transfer it midway. So I want
gotcha.
to finish it,
You
and then
didn't
I'll
finish it yet?
no. It's I had too much to play, man. Like I don't. Yeah. That's why I told
Mm.
them. I was like, I don't have. Oh, look at Morgan unmuting. Look, here she comes. Here she
I'm just,
come.
I'm just,
So
you
yes,
got
she is.
therapy Nate in your name, and yet you
So
didn't finish Final Fantasy VII Remake yet. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
do you plan on playing it on the hard mode?
Yeah, yeah. I plan on playing it on hard mode.
You know what the hard mode is?
Yeah, you can't heal or some ridiculousness, so you got to use the materia. And I've already seen all the tips and stuff how you're
Okay.
supposed to
Good
play it.
luck,
Yeah.
cause I am now at the fight with Reno against Reno in the church on hard mode, and I dropped it cause other game came through, but it almost like give you an entire different way of playing the game, cause you can't heal.
Oh,
You
yeah, and then you can't do like the MP, so you got to put the MP on your blade, and it sounds incredibly annoying. Like I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie,
it
but
is, but it's so
oh,
fucking fun. It's create,
I know you think so.
it's creative and it's new and fresh because bosses now have new moves
Yeah,
on
I mean, I'm
on
gonna
hard.
I heard about that, and then they said all the weird way you have to go through it and stuff like that. So,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm interested
key key point
to
use
see.
chakra. Chakra is very helpful.
Yeah, yeah, I looked at all the materia
Yeah.
suggestions, and basically there's only really a few ways to play because you need to
Yep.
be able to get your MP back. You need to be able to heal yourself and stuff like
Yep.
that. So,
Yep.
um, yeah,
And
I mean, I'm
yeah,
pretty sure I'll have all the materia and stuff like that once I
if
get
you
ready
want
for it.
if you want a good farming place, it's chapter 10, I think. After you crack into Shinra building for the last time, and you fight a few people, there are 10 or 15 people you can kill very easily, and then you reset and you keep doing it until you level up everything you want to level up.
Yeah,
It's very easy to do.
yeah, I'm gonna tear it down though. It's been fun getting back to it.
Hmm.
Um,
Gotcha. Did you
yep.
finish 13 Sentinel?
I'm still playing that as well. So I
Hmm.
was actually telling Morgan I was playing it the other night.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I'm working back and forth. The story mode is the part that is just really long because you end up revisiting a lot of stuff. from the
Tessie
other
Sentinels?
character's perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a long, but the game is literally being carried by the story. The combat is just, it exists.
I mean, I like it because of the way that I outfitted my Sentinels. So my
Mm,
Sentinels be fucking shit up. So
gotcha.
yeah.
Um, and what about Ninokuni?
Still same thing. Still you can't play but so much. So like I
Uh,
said, that's always the problem. That's why it's the same
yeah.
reason I told them I was like, Bari. Of course, Bari was like, "Oh man, you haven't finished Final Fantasy VII yet." And I was like, "Look, bro, I played through Trails of Cold Steel, which I know he ain't even started." So I was like, "I don't want to hear it, sir." I was like, I was playing through Bravely Default 2. I was like, I got Xenoblade the Definitive Edition. I got Triangle Strategy. I was like, look, sir, like, what you want me to do? He was like, you know what, you're right. You're right. I was like, trust
Mhm.
me. I'm like, I
Um,
know.
there is also what's called, so for Ninokuni, I actually bought the Ninokuni season pass, literally for
Yeah.
$10. I get two DLCs with it, two story DLC with it for
You
part
must be you
two.
must be talking about part two, yeah.
Yeah, I never,
Yeah.
I played part two for almost like chapter four and I dropped it because I broke the game. It was too overpowered, and I was not
Oh
a
yeah,
fan.
that don't mean the shit to me. I'm going ham.
I was not a fan of what's called the little buggers, the ones that almost like random in a sense. When
Yeah,
they
I
wanna
know what
move,
you're
when
talking
they
about.
wanna heal you, it's difficult to almost like rely on them for the combat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with me buying the DLC, I'm definitely gonna give it another go. I also
Yeah,
bought a
I have
game.
the DLC.
I also bought a game called Mark of the Ninja. You ever heard of it?
I've heard of it.
So from the gameplay that I've watched, it seems right up to my alley. So I'm gonna definitely play that. And I was saying how I am one trophy away from platinuming Celeste. Something
Mm,
I never imagined to ever say, ever. Like Celeste is not a game I would ever play. Way too difficult for me. Not a fan of
yeah.
puzzling. But with
Yeah, I
this
don't
one,
I don't like that game at all, so I feel you.
it was pattern puzzling, so I enjoyed it for what it is. Just the final trophy is very difficult one. I need to beat the game on the hardest difficulty, which is absolutely not easy. Um, I bought Edge uh, of Eternity. You ever heard of it?
You said something of eternity. It cut off what you said.
Edge of Eternity. Edge.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
You okay? So I bought that. I had a choice between buying Edge of Eternity or Astria Ascending.
Okay, yeah.
You played Astria. How is Astria?
I personally like Austria, so
Mm,
honestly, I don't know what people expected it to be.
I don't know. I
So
don't. I'm coming in blind, so I bought at Edge of Eternity instead. I'm gonna buy Astria later. Like PlayStation having so many games in discount right now. For example, Ender Lily is in discount.
yeah, you
Uh,
guys must have a different sale than us
that's
because that
definitely a
was
game
on
I wanna buy.
sale.
Sorry?
Austria Ascending was on sale on the last sale, but it's not on sale right now. And
You
Edge of
know,
Eternity isn't either.
Astria Ascending and Edge of Eternity were all on sale until the 27th, 26th. I forgot. No, the 16th. I forgot the exact same date, but they were on sale, and I was managed to pick one up. Um,
Got you.
other than that, Prey of the Gods is in discount right now, $15. So definitely wanna buy that. And also there is a game called Star Renegades. Ever heard of it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been on my wish list for a while on Steam specifically.
So it's on PlayStation for discounted right now for $15.
Yeah, they've had it for a while on here. I think, yeah, like I said, I think you guys have, for some reason, I think they rotated the sale that we had to you guys, and then we don't have it anymore. So we don't, none of that stuff is on sale for us anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
What about Ender Lilies? Is it on sale for you? Because it's on sale for me now.
Well, the Austria and Edge of Eternity are not either, so
No, no,
none of
but
that stuff is.
Asteria and Edge of Eternity sales are gone.
Ah, okay.
No, I think we have the same sales. It's just Star Renegade is gonna end at 20. Not at 7 next month, I think. 7 of next month, and that sale. So there is that. There's shit ton of indies that.
Yeah, Star Renegade's like $12 right now.
Yeah, €15 for us PlayStation. Yeah, so there is that. Before we continue, Morgan, how are you? What you been playing?
Hello. Basically, right now I've been concentrating on Cuphead. Never played the game before. Heard really good things about it, so I've been playing that and having a really good
Which
time
game?
with it. Cuphead.
Oh, good luck. You're gonna need it.
Yeah, it's kicking my ass, but it's fun. I'm on the second aisle now, so but I'm having a good time with it. So
Have fun. Prepare for the DLC then.
yeah,
Okay. Then let's continue the conversation that we were having. It's containing Final Fantasy not being an open world. It's confirmed. Nate, what's your thought on that?
uh, you know, as long as they're crafting, the world in a way that it's going to push the story forward the way that it should, character development and world building, in a way that Final Fantasy should maintain. I think I'll like it just fine. It doesn't have to be open world for me. I mean, just because that's been the majority of the series. I mean, it's also had times where it's been like, I guess, like like we said, linear open more so, and not open world entirely. So it particularly doesn't bother me that it's going to be linear. I still don't think it's going to be as linear as they're kind of saying it's not going to be open world. I think they're going to adopt something more similar to like almost like a God of War or something. I don't think it's going to just be this straight path where you're going to have no options and no choices, and nothing's going to, you're just going to walk around and basically, because that's just not even the way the game is built. Like, you can tell even the area that he's fighting isn't just like that. So I don't think they're going to adopt something ridiculous, like Devil May Cry or something, where you only progress through a specific area. And even something like Devil May Cry, you still have alternate pathing and other stuff. So, yeah, I'm not going to say it bothers me yet. If it's done poorly, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I need to see more than just, oh, it's not open world. Like, what does that mean nowadays? You know what I mean? Like, especially coming from them who seem to be trying all these new aspects. So yeah, I mean, it's something I expect normally for it to be open world, because obviously, they're like, the whole joke, is it really a JRPG if you don't get a flying ship?
I was about to say so. Like, especially with
Yeah,
Final Fantasy. I was
yeah.
waiting on to see the design of it, how I interact with it, and so forth. So this is definitely a wait and see moment for me. What about you, Morgan?
are we talking about Final Fantasy?
Yep.
Yeah, not being
I
open
have
world.
no say on that.
Uh, are you gonna
I'm happy.
play the game or no?
Possibly, it's not a day one for me. It's not something that I'm looking forward to, but I'm happy that you guys are looking forward to the game.
Okay, gotcha. Then I will not ask you the second question then. Nate, it's also confirmed that you're gonna be fighting what's called summons, even in human form. You're in human form and they are gonna be in summon form. Uh, are we expecting then something on a Dragon Dogma?
Uh, Not from what I've seen. I mean, it seems a little more controlled when you're fighting summons. Um, so it seems like they're adopting like a near automata approach where depending on what you're battling or how you're battling changes. You know how near has a bunch of different um like
Camera
fighting
angles,
styles.
right?
Yeah, the different
I
angles.
understand. I understand.
Yeah, so one may be like when you're fighting Aeons or whatever, or like it's like it's like a turn based possibly because it looks almost turn based, and then in another mode you're almost at some points it almost looks like a damn fighting game. Like the way his bar looks and stuff like that. I imagine that's going to change personally because from what I've seen, I'm just not a fan of the way his health bar looks and stuff. Like there's several times when I'm just like, this just looks like a fighting game to me. Like at some points, and I'm like, that is just a super weird thing to think about while I'm playing a
Yeah,
Final Fantasy game.
yeah. I saw that camera angle and the setting. Yeah, that's a little bit weird. I'm curious how they're gonna do that.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how it's all going to come together. I mean, I'm glad we're going to get a lot more info in the coming year, given that they're basically spending all this time polishing and finishing up, you know, everything, making sure everything is top tier. So, uh, yeah, I mean, it's interesting, but I again, we got to see how it really plays out for me to see if it's something that looks like I'll like it, or if it looks tedious, or what have you. So,
Fair point. Um. So also, it's confirmed now with Final Fantasy that you're not gonna be able to control your teammate. Only one character
AI
control.
controlled.
Yeah, AI controlled. So, I'm gonna go to you, Weeb. What's your thoughts on that?
Um, yeah, I mean, obviously, I prefer to be able to control my party members, but if they're going to make it, focused game where you focus on the main character, I mean, sure. I look, it is what it is. I can understand people uh, being used to being able to control their party members are happy with this. And yeah, certainly if you have multiple party members with different styles, it's easy to get a favorite, and then you'll be missing out on that. You really have to make sure that playing with the main character will click with people. But in the end, it's a choice. I mean, there are plenty of games where you have only one character you control, and any party members or allies are AI controlled, and they're fine too. I guess it's just the thing that it's a Final Fantasy game where people are gonna have issues with it. But it's not surprising in that sense that it does seem like the direction Final Fantasy was going after 7, where the combat was going in almost a character action type of game. But I have to see. I mean, I'm not gonna deny myself the game just because of it. To be fair, I'm not the biggest Final Fantasy fan, but what I've seen from this game, it looks pretty good. So I'm getting it day one.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Weeb? I mean, innate?
Um, yeah, I mean, again, I don't mind that kind of aspect. It just depends on how it's done. I mean, I mean, I've played other RPGs where they're AI controlled, and you give specific orders or how they play. I mean, specifically recently playing Tales of Arise, you can switch to them, but at the same time, when you're not playing the other characters, they're AI controlled and they act accordingly with based on how you have their parameters set. And that actually plays out really well. They play their roles really well. It's programmed very well. Um, and it can make a big difference in your ability to succeed depending on the type of fight you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Having someone focus on healing, having them focus on healing but watch their MP, um, have some people go all out. It really just kind of depends.
Do you want it
So
to be limited on the options, or do you want it to be full blown a la the Gambit from Final Fantasy X? No, no, not
no,
10, 12. Final Fantasy 12.
it's funny you actually mentioned 12 because originally I didn't actually like 12, largely
Mm.
because of the way that it controlled originally.
What do
But
you mean?
I didn't like the combat system.
Okay.
Yeah. But later on, I've gone back to it on Zodiac Age on PC, and
Oh, if
they
you played
changed a
the
ton of
the
stuff.
Zodiac edition, then you got a completely different game then.
Yeah, the Zodiac Edition is kind of what I felt like they wanted the game to be. Um, it's way more fleshed out. It's way more high paced.
Mm-hmm.
Like I actually like the system a ton at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't mind it. I would like something to be that kind of that robust to a degree because it helps me determine if they go back to having classes. Because honestly, that's something that Final Fantasy has been missing for a while. A lot of people don't even know that that was a thing for Final Fantasy.
Classes?
Yeah, like the white mage and the
I
red
feel
mage
you.
and yeah, that kind of stuff. So
Th- That was the final. I never played 15 that much, so I can't talk about 15. But
mhm.
13 had it.
Yeah, yeah, you had roles and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
So
Yeah.
it's time to finally talk. Sorry, Morgan, you're gonna be excluded from this conversation
It's
for a while.
okay.
Especially when it comes to the not Final Fantasy, but JRPG. Sorry, finish your point, Nate, and then we'll talk about JRPG as a whole.
Yeah, like I said, no, I'm interested to see which way they're gonna go with it. If they're gonna, everybody talks about, the game changing or going back to the medieval theme of the series. Um, I would never really personally call it medieval because I don't ever really think it was that. I think it was specifically like a medieval fantasy, which is because it's not, going back. It was never really, specifically, hey, these are knights and they defend the realm or something. It wasn't like always just the king and the knights and the thing. That's been a thing or a theme, but it's not like Final Fantasy has had multiple themes. That's
Yeah.
not like it's so
Do
I'm
they not
interested
have
to see where
guns
this goes with it.
with this one?
It looks like they do have guns, so that's why
Yeah.
I was saying like it's more like it's a time period look, but I think that just depends on where you are in the world. Because one thing about Final Fantasy, um, usually when you're traversing through the world, you can encounter vastly different civilization levels in different places. I mean, Final Fantasy VIII specifically. Um, I mean, you go to towns that look like just your basic, something from like Naruto, like the village when you first got there, like the Hidden Leaf Village. And then you get to a place later and it looks like the future, and all the streets look like they're made of glass, and
Mm-hmm.
all the towering buildings made of metal, and they have futuristic medicine. and so you
Oh,
can
okay. So
do crazy stuff.
every place is different, got its own different culture and on different setting. I feel you. And before we
Hmm.
continue, Chris Righteous, if you have time, come jump in, because I really wanna hear your thoughts about this topic. That I'm gonna start next. So how do you feel then about 16? Are you excited? Are you optimistic? Are you cautious when it comes to the whole situation?
I mean, I'm still optimistic. I mean, like I said, I mean, there's Square. Square is focusing on making this game, a Final Fantasy game. They're focusing on doing what they always do, changing it up, going forward with it. I'm gonna judge it once I've got it in my hands.
I
I
feel you.
need to play it. I need to really see where they're gonna go with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I get that, yeah, if some of my suspicions stick about how the game ends up playing, that'll be kind of disappointing for me. Um, but at the same time, there could be other aspects that I really love. It's been that way for me before. As a fan of the series, yeah, I hope I love everything about it. And I hope I want to play it over and over again. Um, but like I said in the past, I mean, I've had Final Fantasies that I didn't like. I mean, anybody who's an actual Final Fantasy fan has a Final Fantasy that they've played that they did not like.
Which one do
So,
you did not like? I'm curious.
um, personally, I mean, like I said, originally 12. 12
Mm-hmm.
was one that I didn't really like. I played like till I got to like um the first judge, and I beat him, and then I just like completely lost interest in the game. Um, and that's why I picked up the Zodiac Age, because I heard like the list of changes was like multiple pages long.
Oh
Like,
yeah, you got
yeah,
additional classes. So far I know, more I don't know, but it's definitely different.
yeah. 12 was one I didn't like, and like I said, eight was where I originally started. So for
Oh,
me, going back to 7 was pretty rough. It wasn't that I didn't like it, but graphically that shit looks terrible. Um, it did not age well. Um, so, but it's a little bit more bearable playing through the original 7 on my Switch now. Given they added like a turbo mode and some other shit, so I don't have to like waste a bunch of time.
no, so you can
Um,
speed it up. Oh, that's nice.
yeah, yeah, I can speed it up so I can get through the combat to really enjoy the story, which is the only reason I'm really even going through it. Um, but yeah, that the game did not age well. You could tell it's when they first tried the polygon transition, because it looks rough. Now obviously that's a classic for people who played it at the time, and I did play it, and I say it looked ugly when I'm saying I've tried it previously back in like 2000, so it wasn't even long after the game was out. It just by then I had already played Final Fantasy 8 and a bunch of other stuff like Legend of Legaia, um,
I really hope
and
they
so
put
on.
that on PlayStation Premium.
You're talking about the original?
Yeah, because I never played Legend of Gaia, and I heard from Kofi and other people that hyped it up.
Yeah, Legend of Legaia is amazing. Um, that is again something like you've never experienced in any other uh JRPG. So that's another perfect example of a
Mm-hmm.
turn-based combat game that has a system that is extremely unique. Um, and I like the story and everything in that game and the characters. So yeah, you would like that
Mm,
game a lot.
gotcha. Viper Ripped Up. Before we continue with a different topic, Chris, what's your thoughts on the news that came around Final Fantasy?
Well, which one? Because there was a lot of different news. There
Well,
was
everything in
a
between.
lot
Like
of
for
news.
example, not being able to control your character or party members, and what's called not being open world.
Well, the not being able to control your party members, like I've said before, like as long as whatever they decide to do, as long as it's really good and executed well for what they're going for, you know what I mean? Then I'm gonna have to completely wait and see if because if the creators and right, like these these people are really good at what they're doing, right? This particular team, right? Um, then if they feel like this is the best choice for this game, this particular Final Fantasy game that they want to design, then shit, I'm open minded to see how it turns out. You know what I mean? And he did say you'll be able to give commands to like some AIs or whatever to like heal you and stuff like that. Like, did y'all see that part of the interview where he said that? He said that explicitly. And then he also talked about like a wolf companion and things like that. So, but I'm what I'm excited for the most, and particularly is what he said about the summon fights,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Or the icon fights, because he said that each one, right? He said each one is gonna play out completely different and unique mechanically. He said one is gonna play like a third person shooter. He said another one is gonna be like a wrestling match. So to me, I was like, that gets me excited, that knowing that these huge spectacle, right? These boss battles and things like that, it's not gonna be the same shit over and over again. It's just gonna be shit that switches up mechanically and things like that. Like
not gonna
I'm a geek for that. So
not gonna
what?
lie, that's the first time I heard of this one, so that's gonna be
Yes.
very, very
Yeah.
interesting how it's going to be then. It almost feels to me like quantity over quality, but I'm gonna wait on the final product and see.
Well, them saying that they're gonna be unique differently and mechanically every time, that's more of a quality thing than a quantity thing.
Yes, if you have almost like three things you focus on, but
Because
when you have literally
yeah, because that means that they're trying to make sure that you're not doing the same shit over and over again every time you fight a summon.
uh,
That you're doing different things every time.
precisely, but if what they let's say, for example, every summon you fight is different style and it's limited to what you can do and can't do. Like it's simply basic shooting, basic stuff, basic this, basic that. Then it's like it feels to me like nah, you should have kept it to a mechanic and left it at that.
Well,
That
when you're in human, you're gonna be fighting regularly and stuff like
yeah,
that.
I'm waiting on
But
final
yeah.
product. It's just a matter of speaking. So you said there's a lot more information. Feel free to share them because was new for me. Because for me, I don't know
Well,
anything
no,
about it.
the Famitsu article, the interview with the Famitsu, that's the longest one. That's the one with the most information. There was a lot of things that people weren't bringing up. Well, not a lot of things, but there was some things, and one of those things was like what I was saying, like how each of the summons are gonna feel unique and different.
That's
Um,
interesting. I
which
thought
which is
beforehand it was
yeah,
almost like going to be a puzzle, but no, this is going to be a different gameplay detective. That's going to be interesting.
yeah.
And
If they're able to, yeah, they're able to pull it off and stuff like that. And
mhm.
and he talks about, yeah, he talks about the no party members as well and things like that. And he talks about how Final Fantasy is what the creator um feels like what's the best. He said it was something more along like the best product for his time. Like the creator has to feel like this is the best product for his time or whatever, and things like that. So
So basically, trying to
um
move on from the old stuff and focus on new
w-
stuff.
w- well, no, he's saying that he's trying to create like one of the best Final Fantasy games. He's striving. What I'm saying is that he's striving to create one of the best Final Fantasy games. Like he
Gotcha.
wants this. He wants this to be one of the best Final Fantasy games. Will it be? We don't know. We gotta wait and see. We gotta play. But I mean, they're talking with a lot of confidence. So we'll see. We'll see. Um. Oh yeah, and what else? The no open world stuff. Oh yeah, I mean, I figured that. I figured it was gonna be more open zones and stuff like that. So like I know a lot of people like to bring up like Final Fantasy 12, but I think it's gonna be on a much bigger scale than that. Like
Mm.
I think each area is gonna be pretty substantial, and because he did say right after that 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 there are influences in other AAA open world games, right? He said there's influences from other AAA open world games, but this game is not open world, which means that and there's more area based, which means that the areas are going to be big because you're going to still ride around in chocobos and shit like that to traverse some of these bigger areas, but yeah, it's curated like that to make it seem the world seem way bigger than what it is because when you do just one open world, it's like most of the time it just feels like just one big island. You feel me? Rather than like having a scale, like feeling like the scale of the world is huge, which was what old Final Fantasy games used to do whenever they used the overworld map, right? The reason for that and the chibi style characters with like the big cities and stuff like that, right? That they're the same size as the buildings before you enter them. Um, they did it like that to give you a bigger sense of that the world is way bigger than what it is. So they're trying to make the world seem much bigger than just one big open world game. You feel me? Because that has its own limitations as well too. So yeah, I mean, I'm like just like every Final Fantasy game, and Square Enix has yet to prove that they can make an actual compelling open world game like that. Like they tried with 15, but 15 felt empty as shit and felt like mundane and redundant, and the fucking side quests were very repetitive and shit like that. So, if they can have more curated zones and more things like that where they can jam pack more things into them, and then as time goes on, because they did say that you're going to be experiencing the life of Clive through multiple eras of his life, teenager, 20s, and 30s as well. And with that, the world is also going to change with that as well too, and you're going to get new quests and stuff like that happens, and whatever. So, I mean, overall, like I'm loving everything I'm hearing. Pretty much, you know, I'm definitely very open minded, and I'm a fan of action combat and stuff like that, hack and slash. So as long as it's good and in depth, and there's a lot of customizations that we can do, to suit our own desired play style of what we can do in the game. Shit, I'm all for it. You feel me?
Gotcha. Um, so the reason why I wanted you especially here, because we all are fans of JRPGs, and I want to specifically ask, what define a JRPG for you? What combat makes JRPG fun for you? I'm gonna give you guys an example. For me, I love when the game gives specific roles to specific characters. For example, if you're a healer, stay a healer. I don't want you to deal that much damage. If your job to take brute enemies and destroy shields, then stay on that front. I don't want someone that is a healer to all of a sudden has the ability to destroy shields. Like, nah. If you are capable of hitting enemies that are flying, then focus on that. For example, basically everything what Final Fantasy X does, I love it. Especially the fact that with Fear Grid you can literally turn Tiros into a healer and stuff like that. Um, Also, another thing I truly love is about character interaction. Sometimes the game, or not sometimes, all the time, the game is literally being carried by your teammates. How are they? How do they react? How is their personalities? Do they genuinely feel like a party members, or do they feel like a stranger, or are they bland? And third option, I need the main fucking character to be a talker, speaker. I don't want mute. I'm sorry. Mute is so old news. It's like I'm not invested in you. I'm sorry. You experience hardship. Fine. Where's your emotion? A few dots, a few letters on the board is not on my TV screen. Is not showing me emotions, which is why I fuck with characters that speak. You at least hear them. Not only that, even when you're outside and you hear them talk to themselves, I like that. I like how you can learn.
Omar,
Yeah?
how, how you gonna ask a question and then go off on something completely different from what that question was?
No, but this is part of it. And this is why I'm gonna let you guys talk and you guys can say whatever you wanna say. I'm just saying what for me works. But go ahead, Chris. What worked for you?
I don't even remember what the first question was because you
Fuck
went on to
you.
something completely different.
No, it literally was. Hold up. It
You
was
said
literally
what
the
was it
same
about the
question.
classes?
The question was, what makes a good JRPG for you?
Like what makes it what is a JRPG or what makes a
What
good one?
makes a good JRPG for you?
I mean, depends on what type of JRPG it is. I mean, if it's a turn-based game,
Yeah, turn-based. Mostly turn-based,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. If it's more the turn-based JRPGs, then yeah, do like a group of characters and each one having their own specific roles and things like that. Um, and I do agree with you. If that person's role is the healer, then they should excel at that more than anything else. You feel me? And they should whoever the black mage should excel like that. But um, there are some games that give you customization to customize your parties in any way you want to. That I really enjoyed as well too. One being my favorite game of all time, like Final Fantasy, like the material system. To me, that's an amazing system because essentially you can make um, each character that you may not even think is useful, but you can put materials on them and and have them do specific roles and stuff like that, and make it work. And you can make broken builds. There's a lot of broken material setups and a lot of variety in them and stuff like that you can put on each character and whatnot. So whatever characters in your party, you can give them whatever specific roles that you want. The same
Mm-hmm.
thing with Trails of Cold Steel. At least the first one that I've only played part one. I got to get through two and three and all that, but they're long as shit. You know what I mean? And I'm still catching up on other JRPGs, and they know what I'm talking about. Long ass games.
Yeah, they're hella long.
So, but they had the what was it called? The quartz.
Yeah,
Um,
the quartz.
yeah, which is essentially almost the same thing as what the material system was.
Yeah,
Where you can,
it can get incredibly complicated, but the main difference
yeah,
is they have the quartz system. They have some of them have unique ones that
yeah,
only they can have and stuff like that.
yeah, yep.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, and I enjoyed that. So I don't know, man. It's just like I guess I'm just like I've always
No,
been the
you gave a good
the type of
explanation. You almost
yeah.
agree
I
with
just
me,
always been
but you have your own opinion.
yeah. And really,
What?
I'm just like the gamer is like, yo, as long as whatever they're doing is good and I enjoy it, like because I do like what you're saying, the class ones that stick to your roles. I fuck with that too, but I also fuck with like your own character creation, or even something like Elden Ring, where you can start off as a mage, but you can allocate or the Souls games, you can allocate your points. You can start off as a mage class, but you can allocate your points to be like a like a heavy hitter, like a tank or something like that.
But
Like I don't mind. I
now we're
like
talking
the
about a specifically different game and also specifically different
yeah,
genre.
right. Yeah, I know you talk more of the turn based. Yeah,
Yeah,
but,
because
but yeah, I mean but what I'm saying is that for me the same thing applies as well too. So I fuck with both.
okay. What about character interaction? Do you like that? Like for example, kids in Tales of Arise, or
Say
do you
Kiss.
skip them? Or do you skip them?
the skits
A skit, a
Oh,
and
the
skit.
Tales of
skits, the
Arise.
skits.
Yeah,
No, yeah, I mean, a lot of them, yeah, I mean, yeah. If you're invested in those characters, then of course you're not really gonna mind those as much. But I think Tales of Arise had a lot of fucking dialogue. You know what I mean? So
It
some of them
it
they,
it, it
some of them
does.
end up getting skipped. I ain't gonna hold you because if I feel like it's not really adding too much like important shit that I care about, then I was like, all right, I just skip this shit. You know what I mean? But um, yeah, I mean, but then you got games like Persona 5, right? Royal that has a shit ton of dialogue as well too. Probably even more than Tales of Arise, to be honest with you. Um, but to me, since the dialogue and the way the characters were written and how they interact with each other or in the situations that they were put in was done very well, and it held my interest. Why I didn't mind it as much because I was invested and really interested in it. You feel me? So, but yeah, I mean, if it's a story driven narrative game, right, with different characters, character interaction is
Mm-hmm.
completely important. It's completely important. They just gotta, they just gotta make sure it doesn't overstay its welcome all the time, because then you start to lose interest a little bit. You feel me? So
So your main character, do you want him to be silent or talking?
depends. It really depends because for majority of story driven games, no, I usually want them to talk, right, and have their own personality and stuff like that. Um, as far as JRPGs, yes, yes, I do want the main characters to talk because I'm thinking about other games, but they're not JRPGs, right? I'm thinking about other games, but yeah, for the most part, yeah, I do want them to talk because most JRPGs you don't really get like the characters that are usually silenced in other RPGs is the ones where you have like a shit ton of dialogue choices and stuff like that, right? So they don't usually voice those characters because they would just have to voice a shit ton of different dialogues for that character or whatever, and that may be more expensive for them. But JRPGs they usually don't get a lot of options at all. It's not one of those RPGs. Some of them you do, some of them you do, right? Like Romance and Saga and stuff like that, right? But for the most part, a lot of them don't. Even though the JRPG was the first one to start open world games with choices and selecting a male or female character and tackling your objective in any order, and that was Dragon Quest 3. But the Western RPGs got more influenced by that than than the majority of JRPGs that came after that, which is crazy when you think about it. Even
Mm-hmm.
Final Fantasy 12 Gambit system, the AI system, um,
Yeah,
that's
that
actually more, yeah, that's more present in Western RPGs than there are JRPGs.
without perfection, and we really need that to be implemented in other. Because I
JRPGs.
never
Yeah.
once had anything bad to say about the gambit system. Um, we.
Yeah.
What your thought of what I asked?
But everything you've asked. Now, actually, about the silent protagonist thing, there's a reason why they generally do that. It's not just a matter of dialogue. It's a choice because often when they design a game, they want the player to be able to identify with the character, main character, where they generally don't want the character to have a strong overbearing personality. You can have preference either way. Um, sure, I really like a well written main character. If, it's a Western RPG, but if you look at The Witcher 3, for example, that's an RPG where you have a main character whose voice, and there definitely matters. Other Western RPGs like Mass Effect, I'd say not so much because the main character is basically a doormat, right? It doesn't have much of a personality to begin with. So with JRPGs, I mean, to me, generally the main character is not the most important character. That's just your avatar. It's the party members. It's people who live in this world that are important that create the narrative, the story, and the growth that you go through. So I think they're general. So for me, it's generally not an issue if the main character isn't talking. In fact, often they're quite dull and not very interesting to begin with. So rather than having a badly written main character that talks, I prefer to have them either muted or text dialogues and have party members who interact. And to be fair, I mean, I grew up with text dialogue RPGs, so for me it's not necessarily an issue. I can understand if there's a lot of text, and I can understand if you want to compare them to other contemporaries where they do have voice dialogue. I mean, I do agree that in general it's a thing of the time that you have to catch up. Um, I wouldn't say it's the most important thing, but yeah, in terms of what's important for JRPGs, yeah, story, saving characters is probably more important than the story because the story can be, easily a simple thing like in the end save the world. Generally, a simple story is the best as long as you have interesting characters that you go take you for the ride. Um, yeah, I want to say gameplay, but I've played plenty of JRPGs where the gameplay wasn't great, but I still thoroughly enjoyed them because of the story. I mean, art direction's possibly a thing that definitely, yeah, no, I actually would say because like Dragon Quest XI, for example, has fantastic art direction, especially because of the Akira Toriyama inspired artwork. I mean, that's part of the identity of that franchise. So if you would deviate from that, clearly it wouldn't be the same. But there's also its appeal. I say that what maybe I'm probably going to get some hate from it. That's generally a thing, an issue I have with Final Fantasy, the modern Final Fantasy games, is that a lot of the characters are like trying to create a realistic anime character design, right? And that sometimes is a bit jarring to me because I feel like what like Tales of Arise did. I'd say I prefer that because it actually feels like proper anime style characters.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if you compare let's Tales of Arise with Final Fantasy VII remake, for example, I mean, so it's fine, but if you compare the characters designs and
So,
the world Final Fantasy VII is trying to be more realistic rather than more
ah,
anime style.
so
The
you like,
characters,
so you like more animated than realism.
well, the thing is, the issue I have with these character designs of Final Fantasy VII in this case, but insert any modern Final Fantasy, is that they try to go for realism, but essentially what as if anime characters were real people. And that's generally a bit weird to me, at least. There's always an uncanny valley aspect to it that I'd say it would have been the characters would look better if they were actually just anime characters, right? That's I
Mm.
mean it's a preference. I mean I'm not
Just look in the chat for more.
but
Sorry?
Look in the chat in the Discord.
Give me a second.
That's what he's talking about.
Give me a second. I'm gonna look it up right now. Mm.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
like Tales of Arise, you see how they look great. They look just like their drawn counterparts, and
All I
then
all
you see
I'm
the
seeing
drawn
is
version
in general or where?
in general.
Yeah, I'm looking in general. All I see is what's called final talk is let's do it later from
It's literally right
Akira.
below that.
Nothing. Maybe because phone is
Yeah, your phone
outdated.
must not
Give
be.
me a second then.
But
Okay, now I
Oh, you
see.
talking about you talking about the Star Ocean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
yeah, that's a
yeah,
Yeah.
perfect example. Yeah.
yeah. You see how they look drawn, and then how they look weird because of the way they rendered them. But if they would have rendered them the way that like Tails did, which is more anime esque, like they would
Mm-hmm.
have came out better, and they would look closer to the drawn counterparts.
Nate, is there a way to show this now to the world?
I mean, not necessarily. I mean, I'd have to post like a link in chat or something.
Okay, because I want to show them what we're talking about. But this is very interesting because at first I was blown away by the Star Ocean characters because to me it almost feels like this is a continuation to The Last Hope. Mm, but now that you're seeing again now, characters doesn't look that much very good if you compare them to Tales of Arise, for example.
Hmm.
But on the other hand, you have a game like Final Fantasy VII Remake that was perfection, even with characters.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's definitely differences there, but for me, still, I'd say I prefer the style of Tales of Arise because it's there's always every Final Fantasy the main characters are essentially like an anime character but realistically animated, and I'd say Final Fantasy is definitely an example of franchise where they do it as best as they can, uh, much better than the screenshots that were shared in the chat. But still, I'd say I do prefer that style just because I'm always reminded that I'm basically looking at an anime character, but realistically animated, and that there's an uncanny valley aspect to that for me
Yeah,
at
I mean
least.
they look weird. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna hold you. They look literally weird. So
Mm. Um, this is very interesting conversation. What your thoughts then on 16? Because 16 using a realistic character.
Yeah, 16 seems to be a bit more. Um, yeah, at least I don't know if there's any typical anime-looking characters in there. But it seems to be a bit more Western styled, at least, and the characters are at least a bit more grounded, not very flamboyant as it were. Um, so yeah, I mean, I don't see that as much as with other Final Fantasy, but again, it clearly depends on the character design and what you're going for. If you're going for absolute realism, where people look like they actually look like in real life. I mean, and sure, there's probably people who will go out with pink hair or blue hair and whatever, right? But still, they are essentially what you would see in a typical shonen anime, but then made real, right? So the real type version of that. But yeah, I'd say in this case it's not that prevalent. But again, it seems they're going for a more mature style there with more older characters that sort of fit more in a more traditional sort of medieval style because it does seem to really yeah, there are summons and there's monsters, but it does seem like they're trying to go. I mean, I don't know, maybe it is War of the Roses kind of setting. Again, we don't really know what it's about, but clearly the idea is that they're fighting with armies in a sort of pseudo medieval, maybe Renaissance setting. But um, again, it's my personal view on that. So I prefer the art style generally of the games of Tales of Arise or Dragon Quest. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I just want to highlight art style definitely is one of the appeals of JRPGs because it
oh, huge.
generally, yeah, huge, yeah. Uh,
So then, what's your thoughts on the 9 art style, Dragon Quest 9? I'm not that much of a fan of it,
you would have to remind me how it looks like.
to be
For the
Dragon
honest.
Quest
DS?
9. Did that ever
Yeah.
come to the West?
Hmm? Oh, not 10,
Dragon
9,
Quest
10, 10,
9?
10, 10, 10. Fuck me, 10.
Oh, you talking about the MMO, the X,
No,
or are you talking about 11?
You must be
oh
talking about
shit,
11.
Dragon Quest, the one that went
11.
to Switch. Okay, 11. Sorry, I'm not
Yeah,
versed
11.
into Dragon Quest that much. I played one, which is 11.
Yeah, you
Oh,
missed.
yeah, I mean, I already said that's clearly a trademark of that franchise that has this Akira Toriyama artwork, or at least inspired. I imagine he's not drawing every character for every Dragon Quest anymore.
Yeah, that's
But
not
yeah,
going
I
to
mean,
change. That's
yeah,
that is the Dragon Quest
yeah,
art style. Yeah.
yeah. And that's part of the appeal of that franchise, because it looks great, especially if, with 11, where you have a fantastic. It looks gorgeous anyway, and with that art style, it's so idiosyncratic of that franchise. I mean, again, that's I think where JRPGs set themselves apart from typical Western RPGs, but they generally go for a very realistic art style where characters try to look like real people. The rarely you will find one where they have you know, an unusual art style, and maybe feel lucky cell shaded, but it's probably the extent of it in general. But with these, and even like if you can say, okay, it's an anime style, there are so many differences. Like again, Dragon Quest, Akira Toriyama has a very particular style. You can see that in those games. I mean, if I don't want to, Vanillaware is I don't want to say that they're typical JRPG company, because many of their games are, well, they have RPG elements, but they're sort of hack and slash, though they have a large variety, like with 30 Sentinels, which is a more visual novel. Um, but yeah, they have a very distinct art style that you can easily recognize, and is also part of the appeal, because that's why it's one of my favorite indie studios, because I love that art style. Every time they announce a new game or release a new game, I'm getting it, and I don't even need to know what it is about, or what the gameplay is. I know that's going to be solid anyway, but the art style is what sells me on those games.
Gotcha. With that being said, we gotta move on from this conversation before Morgan starts hating me. Sorry, Morgan, that you was
Okay, what do
excluded
you
with this.
like in JRPGs and
I think she gonna throw you from into the ocean. Don't worry about it. Um, let's let's talk then, Morgan. God of War. According to the quote unquote the snitch, God of War news this month, the 30th. We're expecting news. Believable or no?
well,
Morgan.
I mean, he.
Nah,
Yeah, I don't think she's there.
I want Morgan to answer, but I think she fell asleep.
My bad.
So,
No, I'm up.
oh hey, she's alive. Welcome. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Sorry. I was just letting you guys talk. My bad.
No, it's okay. I felt it. So, the snitch said that we're expecting God of War news this month, 30th.
Hmm.
Believable or no?
I think it is. I mean, at least regarding the snitch, like he hasn't been wrong yet. So, I mean, he's the first insider I actually trust. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
even without him, I feel whether or not God of War releases this year or next year, I think the end of this month it's bound to get some news either way, like a
Mm-hmm.
state of play, a release date, a release window, something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I do feel like the end of this month is the time to set the precedent and let PlayStation fans know when we can expect God of War. So I'm excited. I feel like we're probably gonna get some kind of news on Monday if there's gonna be a state of play on like the 30th or whatever. Monday is usually the time or the day that PlayStation and it likes to make their announcements. Like, all right, state of play Thursday or whatever. So
True.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and he also made a comment, or more like uh, a GIF with the word order. Order 1886 remake, remaster, whatever you want to
I,
call
I,
it, or
I think
part
he was
2.
just I think he was just telling everybody to calm down, speculating in his comments. But I mean, I wouldn't be upset with the Order 1886. That would be fucking fantastic. Like,
Mm.
I would be elated to get. a full game with that IP. Oh man.
Yeah, I'm all over
Oh,
that.
you did them dirty by calling it a full game. Damn.
No, that's not what I meant. I meant
Oh
like, like a
shit, that
full
was rough.
experience. Look, I love the game. I loved it. But I'm saying like a full experience, Like I feel like the story ended short. Like I wanted more of it.
Yeah, I
Like
heard of it. I have yet to play it because that's.
what?
Yeah, so what happened is I said
Oh,
it on
Omar,
multiple. No,
no.
let me explain. I used to, I used to be stupid. I used to follow Metacritic. I used to follow reviews. Heck, even Weeb. You ever heard of Game King?
I have, and
You
I'm
never watched them?
okay. I no, I don't watch them, but I know who they are, and I'm ashamed that you actually follow them.
I used
Man.
to. I used to. I genuinely. I used to. You know how Xbox value Phil Spencer that much? I used to almost value them that much. And these are just a group of people that came in and talk gaming. But they gamers. And they would actually go to a Gamescom, go to even the USA for E3. And that's where I got like my covers from E3 and Gamescom from. Um, when it comes to what's called, so they reviewed the order and were disappointed with it and said that it's unfinished, said that it's repetitive, everything under the book. So I trust them at face value and I saw the Metacritic score. Back then I used to believe in Metacritic also. And I skipped it and I have yet to play it.
Damn.
Not out of principle or whatsoever, just it never came up to me and I have yet to find it for a good price. I'm not gonna buy it for 30 bucks or 70 bucks or whatsoever. And
It it's
yeah,
gonna be on sale guaranteed. I mean, I got on sale too. It's gonna be for
precisely.
next week.
Or they might
Yeah.
even put it in PlayStation Plus, or even put it in what's called premium.
I'm surprised it's not on premium already.
I don't
Hmm.
know. Don't have. So here's the thing for me. I have still PlayStation Plus until 2 months. I think the 8th of this year. And if I want to upgrade to premium, I need to pay $10, €10. I'm
That's it. Oh
debating.
man.
I'm debating if that's worth it or no. Because right now I have shit ton of games to play, but I also want to play Wild Arms. I never played that, and I'm pretty sure there are some other games I want to play, like for example Puppeteer. I played it, but I don't recall finish it, so I want to play it all over again. So I'm not sure what I do when it comes to that front. But yeah, no. The Order and God of War 30. Chris, believable?
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, the guy hasn't missed yet. You feel me? Like he's been spot on with every single thing. Like literally everything. Everything's ever since he been on the scenes, which was literally right before State of Play started. State
Hmm.
of Play happened. He put out the entire list of what was going to be at State of Play in the exact same order. You feel me? So and even with the release dates and everything like that, and then the Last of Us remake being announced that that is also coming to PC. He was right about that. Crisis Core, right? Which he actually helped me win a bet. Right? He actually helped me win a
Oh
bet
yeah.
with
Shout
Damn.
that.
out, hey, shout
Yeah,
out to Cheat Code for coming through with that bet.
yeah. He made me win. Helped me win a bet, and as soon as I saw that and the color boxes and everything, I was like, oh shit, Crisis Core is coming, and it's coming to all platforms and whatnot. And that's
Mm-hmm.
exactly what happened the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he in short amount of time, which has been the time of nothing but gaming news and informations and announcements or whatever. He's been spot on with everything that he says. So yeah, and it makes complete sense. And that's something that I was feeling as well. Like I was like, whenever they announced the third party state of play, I was like, yeah, we're gonna get this third party state of play, but I'm pretty sure a few weeks after that they're probably gonna do their own God of War state of play. Like I just had a feeling that there was gonna be one soon after. I just didn't know it was 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but I just had a feeling that one was gonna be soon after it, and yeah, with the snitch pretty much confirming that that's what it is.
Also, a
Yeah,
question.
I
And
mean,
also, fucking
Didn't
Corey
Corey?
ass.
Yeah, I was literally about to say Corey
He
Barlog
just been
did
on the
some.
trolling spree, and it's always
yeah,
with
he's been very active on Twitter, and
No, no.
yes,
putting
it's
these
always right
little
before news.
He
yeah
He starts
these little
trolling. He did
Morse
the same
code
thing.
he
puzzles
put
and
a Morse
riddles,
Yes,
code.
and
Yeah. So that
he
yeah.
did
Morse
it with
code.
God of War 2018. So it's just like I already know. Like once he starts
Yeah,
calling,
so this is why, like, to me, yeah, I 100% believe it, that
yeah,
is real. Yeah.
So I've seen also a lot of not a lot, a few people leaving Santa Monica now. So we can only assume that their work is done with the
hmm
game,
Yeah, possibly. Yeah,
yeah.
possibly.
and we might get a gold, not gold, going gold. Yeah, very soon after they show us the game.
Mhm. It's been rated in Korea or whatever. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now the question is, when is gonna be the release date?
11
That's the real
11
question.
11 11.
Eleven
Don't
eleven.
You think
11
Yeah,
so?
11.
I'm
Don't
telling
at
you,
me.
if you're so petty as fuck, if they
11
get
11. PlayStation. Be petty. Be petty.
I love
I
Yeah.
kind of
all for the
I
petty.
don't yeah, I don't think they're going to do that, but
I don't think as well,
I
but
kind of
just yeah,
yeah, I kind of hope so, just to see the meltdown on Twitter,
You
just for
know?
precisely,
my
Oh my
entertainment.
god,
Yeah.
Sony really?
precisely.
How they gonna do that? How they gonna do that? Like
Uh,
what do you mean? So that's how they want to play. See, that's why I said Microsoft need to be more aggressive. You see what I'm saying?
oh my God,
Yeah,
oh
Microsoft needs
my,
to turn
oh
Sith
my,
Lord.
oh my God. Did wait a second, hold up. Did a certain university do just infiltrate my
Oh man.
Discord? He
Y'all chill.
Uh,
he sounded like him. It's not
Oh
even
my gosh.
funny.
Oh my
The
y'all.
demeanor, his voice tone, his
My god.
aggression.
Yeah,
Stop.
that was the point of Mark.
That,
Jesus.
before I continue, I want to give a shout out to Nelson Gaming. For yeah, going to work and still listening to the show. Also, sub to JWog. If you guys don't know who JWog is, shout out to JWog. JWog used to reviews E3s and stuff like that. And he is a down to earth, cool fucking dude with passion and personality. If you have what's his name, Mr. Payo, put him on YouTube, give him 10 more energy drinks. That's Jaywalk, and
no doubt.
he is one of the coolest dude on YouTube. He used to make videos, then he stopped, and now he's back. Go ahead, give him a follow. Give me a second, I will link his Twitter account. I mean his YouTube account, because I truly respect that dude, and I truly love his content. With that being said, Nate, 30 God of War and Order,
I
both.
mean, yeah, I mean, like I said, the snitch hasn't missed, so I'm not about to doubt him right now. I mean, everything that has come from that account has been literally 100%. So, I mean, I already expect that full force. Uh, God of War news definitely coming next week. When exactly, I don't know, but I agree with Morgan. Normally, if it's going to be a state of play, they normally announce it Monday for later in the week. So we don't have much longer to wait on that. The order, personally, I'd be extraordinarily excited about that because I, for the longest, thought it absolutely deserved a sequel. I loved every single second I played through that game. I played through on hard the first time and got the platinum trophy in one playthrough. The game was incredible. The story was engrossing. The world was just incredible to be in. So I mean, I think It's one of the few games outside of JRPGs that has um, a very, very strong world building, which is something that is not very present in a lot of games. So yeah, I mean, I will be all for that shit. I'm excited
Mm,
if that's coming to pass.
gotcha. To close off this conversation, Chris, you know Wanton, right?
Yeah, the real insider, right?
Yeah, the real insider. So he came out and he said something very interesting. He said that insiders are spoiling the surprise.
That man just mad because he
I
ain't
I
never got
know
another
I
movie.
know he is bitter. I know he is bitter. But I seen literally, for example, Caleb Kaiser, another dude I'm cool with. Was this one I am cool with, and he said that
Hold on,
it's a,
real quick. Oh my, you know why he's bitter? Is because he used to pay
I know,
for
I am
inside
aware.
information that was fake.
I am aware. I am aware of
Damn.
Wanton. I am aware of Wanton, which is why I said you know Wanton. But this is not about Wanton. This is about his comment. His comment was very interesting because I've seen other people comment about that and say the exact same thing, and people that I fuck with. So I'm curious about your guys' opinion. So basically, the concept of insiders spoiling stuff before the reveal is something that takes away the surprise and should be almost like banned. Would you guys agree or not agree? Chris, go ahead.
um, well, yeah, I mean, I do agree that it does take away the surprises, but I mean, that's what comes with like people just hungry for information, right? People are just hungry to know what's coming and stuff like that, and they may feel like the companies are too quiet and what in the hell is Sony gonna do their own shit or whatever. So there's people, and obviously other people do it for attention. They just leak shit. Just start leaking everything, right? And yeah, sometimes it's like, oh snap, like this got leaked, and I mean sometimes it could be exciting, right? Like whenever the Nvidia leaks happened, when I saw FF9 remake and remastered on there and Dragon's Dogma 2, I was like, yeah, that's exciting, but at the same time, it would have been more exciting as a surprise when it officially got announced. Yeah, I mean, probably, so I don't know. It was like, yeah, I do agree that they do spoil things, right? But I mean, it's really up to you and how you want to take that in. If you don't mind or you do mind, then, if you mind, then you probably don't want to be
Then you
scrolling
should
down
stay off the
Twitter a
internet.
lot.
You should
Yeah,
stay off
because
the internet. Yeah.
at one point you're gonna get spoiled. Just like if you wait too long to watch a movie, if
Or
you wait a
play a
week to
game.
watch a movie, when a movie comes out and you're still on social media and stuff like that, like knowing that a lot of people have already watched it, like you should know at that point, like that either mute the words, right, or mute people or whatever. But at that point you should know that you're gonna get spoiled eventually on social media.
Precisely. If you had to choose, get leaked beforehand or wait until the
The
official
surprise.
announcement.
Um, Probably the surprise. I'll wait for me to get surprised in the moment rather than
Okay,
it being leaked. Yeah.
gotcha. Morgan.
Personally, for me, I don't really mind. But I would prefer to be surprised over a leak. But I mean, I don't mind the leak. It doesn't bother me. And I feel the same. Like if people are bothered, the mute and block button exists. You can use it as liberally as you want, and you can mute certain words. You can stay away from certain accounts that are prone to leak information. Social media is social media, so like if you're on it expecting to not have things spoiled for you, you're in for a rude awakening. So it's just like stay off social media if you don't want to be surprised by information. But for me, I don't normally, I don't really mind.
Gotcha.
It builds up anticipation for me anyway. I'm like, oh cool, it's coming. Oh nice, now I can get really excited. So
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Weeb?
I don't give a shit.
Nate?
Yeah, I mean, either way, it makes no difference to me, to be honest. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, yeah, like, I mean, if it's a completely brand new IP, yeah, cool. But I mean, either way, I'm surprised, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it whether they reveal it or they reveal it at the show, I'm still surprised. So I mean, for instance, just recently, they accidentally revealed the Tactics Ogre Reborn when they accidentally published it.
Oh yeah, I see that, but what is that?
Yeah. So it's I mean Tactics Ogre is amazing. It's one of the greatest tactical video games of all time that Square has
Mm-hmm.
made. So um I've been wanting a remake for the longest because well the only way you can play it currently is either to emulate it or play it on like PSP. So um yeah, I'm extremely excited about that. And, Square hasn't officially unveiled it, but I mean, it has key art already. So clearly it's a thing and it was accidentally published. So it's not just sitting in the PlayStation Store for no reason. You know what I mean? So it's coming when I don't know. But I mean, the surprise didn't diminish because it wasn't on PlayStation stage. I don't care where they tell me where it's coming now. I know it's coming. I was just as hyped. So yeah, like that doesn't it doesn't diminish my excitement. And when I finally get to see it and see it coming, I'll be just as hyped. So yeah, I don't
Gotcha.
care whether I see it early or not.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. And what's called what I wanted to talk about? Oh yeah, uh, two topics. First of all, shout out to Nintendo. They officially have forced me now to beg to get a Switch. I know Ghost is sending me Switch. I'm waiting on that one to come, but dude, Xenoblade 3. Everything I have ever wanted in a JRPG and then some. I'm gonna start with Weeb. You gonna Are you interested? Yes or no?
I don't know because two was a bit disappointing. It, but let's just say the gameplay was ass. So I have to wait and see if they actually don't forget to implement proper gameplay.
Wait, you found that gameplay ass?
Of Xenoblade 2, yeah, that's generally the consensus because it's really rough.
I mean, to be fair, now companies are showing it rough. Does it mean the final game is gonna be rough?
Now, 2, when that game came out and still is, that gameplay is not good. That's generally the weak part of that game. I mean, it looks good. I mean, it has, or at least the character design looks good. It has an interesting story, but the actual gameplay isn't that fun. At least it wasn't for me. So I don't know how they're going to address that in this game. Therefore, for me, it's a wait and see. I'm not gonna buy it day one. I'm gonna wait until the reviews drop and tell me if the game is actually, or the developers have actually addressed those issues and improved on that.
Mm-hmm. Clear. Um, Nate, what about you?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I mean, I don't feel the same way. I mean, in that regard, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So, uh,
Xenoblade is your favorite franchise, right? Like Xenoblade 1 is your
well,
favorite JRPG?
Xenogears is
Oh,
my favorite.
Xenogears. Oh, what's the
Yeah.
difference between the two? Cause
There's a massive difference.
oh,
They're incredibly loosely related. Yeah,
oh,
it's super loose. Like they're other than the mention of like two items, like that's about as closely related as they are. There's something called the Zohar, which has to do with you battling like God and all this stuff, and Cosmos being one of the blades in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. That's about as related as they get. I don't know what um Monolith Soft's thing is with the Zohar thing. They literally could have called it anything else, but they keep trying to use the this item known as the Zohar as like this all powerful thing that channels a certain amount of power to allow you to battle God or something. So that's pretty much as close as their relations get.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, Xenogears is my favorite of all time and is massively different than those. I haven't finished Xenoblade 1 because I'm gonna be real. It starts off pretty damn slow.
Hold up, hold
Um,
up, hold up, hold the phone. I need to stop you
what?
right there. See, so you're a JRPG fanatic. I'm a JRPG fanatic. Chris as well. I don't know about Chris that much, and Morgan can be scared. Um,
Dude, what do you think?
I really don't know if you're that much of a JRPG fan or not. I really don't know, but I think I'm going with Jen.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, when it comes to
Okay.
JRPG, they always start slow. Always, every single
No, no, no,
game.
no, no. Hell no. Nah, all of them do not start slow. They do not. There are
Come
some that are
on.
notoriously fucking slow. Like we know the difference. There's everything does not start slow. Xenogears for one does not start slow, and neither does freaking Suikoden 2, which is my second favorite JRPG of all time, and neither does Legend of Legaia, which is my third favorite JRPG of all time. So no, they don't all start slow. That is some famously
It,
generic Final
can,
Fantasy shit.
can you describe me what's slow versus what's fast? Because I'm genuinely curious. Because
When
I've
I
heard
say
multiple
slow, I
people
mean
say
like
slow.
that shit. When I say slow, I mean like you're just trudging through like the area, and it's like walk here and walk back here and get this going, and then like yeah, it's just basically basic running around doing like menial task type bullshit. Like the game hasn't really gotten started yet. Like it takes forever for you to even get like the official like splash screen to start the game. Like I'm talking about like before you actually get going. Like the character, you're doing basic fighting. Hey, go clean out the monsters in this area real quick. Yeah, it's incredibly slow.
Mm. So, would you then agree Final Fantasy 12 is slow start?
Not in Zodiac, no. Which is why I like it a lot better.
Because that's literally go do this, go do that for a while until you start.
It is, but you already get into the system or whatever of it. So that's what I'm saying. You can do it a lot faster with a lot of the new implementations in the system, so you don't have to waste a bunch of time doing everything. But yeah, it does start that. It
Mm-hmm.
starts off very rudimentary as well. This is a big reason why I don't recommend every JRPG to everybody. Why I said a lot of people can't get into them because of how they start off, which is perfectly understandable. Like one of the absolute slowest and most rudimentary JRPGs, despite some people really loving it, is um, Dragon Quest XI. I've seen so many people try to recommend Dragon Quest XI to people who don't play JRPGs. That is the last JRPG on the entire planet I would suggest anyone to play that has not played JRPGs, because that shit is like it's basic even when it comes to JRPGs. Like it is so incredibly just rudimentary, turn-based combat. Like that when people think turn-based combat is boring, they are referring to Dragon Quest XI.
I wholeheartedly disagree.
Hmm.
I mean, you can disagree that you think it's not boring. I'm saying that's what people are referring to, though. Press the attack button, press this button, hit magic button, press this button. That's what I'm talking about. It's slow and it's incredibly rudimentary. It is the most basic form of turn-based combat in any in the sense of the word.
I'd say I would agree that it's very down to the basics, but I wouldn't call it slow. It's pretty fast in my opinion. And
Well, no,
I'd
I
say
mean it's just basic though, is what I mean. Like
yeah,
there's no,
but
it has no
I
customization to it
yeah,
or
but
anything in
I'd
that
I'd
regard.
say I would recommend this actually to any newcomer to JRPGs because this is the basics. Because I would never recommend more complicated. Like pick any Final Fantasy, prior to Seven remake. Because they reinvent the system every single time, so it can be pretty complicated.
I mean, I wouldn't recommend Final Fantasy VII remake either because that's going to give them a false impression, like of what
Yeah, yeah,
JRPGs are. Yeah, but
sure, sure.
I'm saying I would give them something that is more exciting for me because there are several times when I found myself, having to trudge through Dragon Quest XI to get to another point in the game. But I understand these things in the JRPG, but I know some of the people. I know how they get bored. I understand why some people don't want to go through them. I would honestly recommend something um, more so like Persona 5 Royale. Persona 5 Royale speeds up the system that even the original game had. It's very stylized, it's very
I never
entertaining.
played Royal, so I can't comment on that. I played Persona 5 and I loved it.
Yeah. But
Okay.
like that it speeds even that up even more, and it basically gets rid of some of the restrictions
Yeah, but
that
I
you.
wouldn't recommend Persona 5 because of everything around it.
Well, no, I mean, but I get the one problem that all these other people have a whole thing with the social system, but like people just got to get over the fuck over that shit and follow a guide. Like I'm sorry, like that's just one of the things. If you want to maximize your playthrough in Persona, you just gonna have to follow the damn guide.
Yeah, I know, but again, if you want to recommend a game for a first timer and you tell me, yeah, okay, you have to follow guide, that's probably
Well,
not
no,
gonna.
specifically just for if you want to maximize. I play like that, right? So I want
Yeah,
to maximize my playthrough. If they want, I mean, you could play it without the guide, but you're definitely gonna fail maximizing your arcana or whatever.
Yeah,
Like that.
especially if you want to do the end game stuff, like
Yeah,
end game boss battles, you need to be 100% uh, ready. And in
yeah,
order to do so, you need to have maxed your situation. Because in Persona, if you go on a quote unquote date, it's not a date, I'm just calling it a date, and you don't say the correct thing,
yeah. You
you
don't get the maximum.
you waste,
Maximum
you
effect.
basically waste your day as your part of the day at that point. So yeah, I fully understand. Okay, with that being said, um, I'm gonna. Okay, so here's the thing. No, no, it's my show, and I don't want to get political, but this is contained PlayStation with also other companies. In case you have been living under a rock, the Supreme Court, what's called, ended Roe v. Wade, and I'm not gonna go too much into it. You do your own research on that front. I just want to focus on how what Jim Ryan said at first hand and how PlayStation Studios have been acting now. So Jim Ryan didn't want PlayStation to take a stand on this one, right?
well, to be fair, I'm not sure if they're actually violating that guideline because I think what they explicitly said is if you can make a personal statement there, but you cannot mention PlayStation, so you cannot use their ads when you do so. Um, so I think they're all
Well,
allowed to do that, but not not saying okay, yeah, we
w-
at PlayStation, whatever.
well, Neil Druckmann did just genuinely broke that code then, because he
Okay,
literally said that he is donating some money or something like that, and PlayStation is matching it. There is
PlayStation
literally a
PlayStation
tweet of
donated
that.
that. Yeah, he didn't at PlayStation. He did that personally or speaking for
Yeah,
the
he
Naughty
didn't at
Dog.
PlayStation.
Yeah, he didn't at them. He
I
just
think he
they
at
they
them. Let
they did.
me look
No,
it
he
up.
didn't. Because I made
He
I was looking
didn't?
at that. He didn't. He didn't at them.
Oh, okay. Because it's very interesting what's happening. What I mean by I'm not talking about the decision. I'm genuinely talking about how companies are in favor of defending women's rights, and I'm literally talking about companies that have accused of sexual assault and misconduct. Talking about you, Ubisoft, and especially Activision, and what's called yeah, no, Activision in general. Um,
Mhm.
so with how almost every studio of PlayStation came in favor of defending women's rights, and you have a lot of developers retweeting this and stuff like that. Do you see this? Do you see Jim Ryan fucking up and saying something that's gonna get him almost like gone? Cause
No, because
for
he
me,
doesn't have anything else to say about it.
I don't feel Jim Ryan's gonna be happy with this. What's happening right now? Cause he wanted almost
No,
PlayStation to be
I
neutral in a
mean,
But
way.
he did okay. So let me explain because we had this whole conversation on Morgan's timeline. He that's not what he's saying. Him saying what he said is saying that he, as the CEO of PlayStation, cannot tell you the stance of PlayStation and every global entity underneath them. He cannot speak for them and say, this is our stance. Because they are a global brand in which he cannot factually know the actual way every employee underneath him feels. So rather than sitting there and stating, hey, we at PlayStation feel this way, when there are several employees that may not feel that way, simply respect each other's opinions and get your job done, which is exactly what he should have done. Because as a CEO, his point is to get the business done. His point
But
is to not be political.
Xbox did make a stand. Did make a stand.
I mean, they can
Did
do
you?
whatever they want. But I'm saying he didn't tell them, the studios, hey, you can't do this or you can't do that. PlayStation, like I said, even when it matched their donation when they made the donation. So it's not about that. He just can't make you
Well,
can't make a
to
blind statement.
to be fair, that may not be entirely true because Insomniac did say that they do expect that when they want to do something like that in the future, PlayStation is going to make things difficult for them. So I'd say it's not as harmless as it seemed. It was a statement that deserved the criticism because by arguing that we should respect opinions, you're essentially saying, yeah, don't talk about it, which you should never,
Well,
because
respect opinions is not don't talk about it. We can't.
well,
That's definitely not what that means.
oh no, that definitely that was his intention there because he didn't
If
want
he
to make.
said don't talk about it or we're not allowed to talk about it, I would agree. But if I tell two people to respect each other's opinions in any sense of the term that I've ever used that in my entire life, does not mean don't talk about it.
No,
It
no,
just
no,
means
no, no.
respect the difference of opinion
I
that people have.
Yeah, but that was definitely not what he intended. He didn't want to have that debate, so he didn't want any. That's why he said, "Okay, don't fucking mention PlayStation when you're tweeting about it," because he didn't want to associate PlayStation with taking a position there. And
But you
that,
can't speak. He cannot speak for PlayStation in its entirety, whether he's
he
the
can,
CEO or not. He
he
cannot.
can, but here's the problem: PlayStation has tweeted out for several cause, like Black Lives
And
Matter,
if
for
that's what
example.
they feel
They
like
have,
that stance is, and they
but
agree upon that, then they
yeah,
can.
but there's there, yeah, but okay, but there is the thing. PlayStation, he can absolutely make a statement that this is a position of PlayStation. This is the position of Sony. This is his personal position. He can absolutely do that. He does not have to. abstain from opinion. He does not have to say
I mean, he
respect
also
certain
doesn't have.
views.
It's also not his job to speak on it though either.
Well, actually, it is because he represents the company, and the thing is, by not speak or by saying, okay, yeah, you cannot officially tie our brand to it, or we cannot, we have to respect, the the opposite opinion. You're creating an unsafe work environment for the people who are, especially the women who are working there. That's the issue. That's why people were upset about, and yeah, that he callously was talking about cats and dogs or whatever bullshit he was
Yeah,
talking
I mean
about.
that whole nonsense that is irrelevant
Yeah,
to the point. Yeah,
yeah.
but yeah. But
Because
my point is he didn't tell anyone no. The fact is also people are under contracts and other things. And what I mean by he can't speak for PlayStation, I mean the employees as a whole. Is what I mean. I'm not talking about the stance of PlayStation, the entity stating making a statement. I mean he stated specifically in a manner in which he cannot speak for everyone underneath them. Therefore, he only stated to respect everyone's opinion within the company. Not adding the company, there are multiple things you can't add the company about for regardless. There are multiple people who've been fired for that dumb shit. This is the difference in contractual work that people forget when you are under certain things. There's another person who did that who under their employee related account in which they stated they worked at Riot. I think it was Riot or something. I can't remember specifically where she worked at, but she basically essentially went on to talk shit to a bunch of fans and was immediately fucking fired for the dumb shit because
yeah,
it was
I
under the guise
remember
that
that.
she was using that. But if she would have just talked shit as a person, they said
Yeah, but
they couldn't have got her. But she specifically has it in her account written. I this account represents me basically working at this company. That's what I'm saying. That's the things you have to be
Yeah,
careful of. Not that you can't say
that
it.
I disagree with using that example because that's a very specific individual and that somebody is showing conduct not becoming of their position, right? Talking shit about people or calling names, etc. Right? We're talking about you know uh, expressing a particular
But why do you need to
opinion
at
about the cause.
PlayStation when you speak about it? You see what I'm saying?
Well,
You
why
can't
not?
just
Because
speak about it.
yeah, but the problem is it was never an issue until because nobody got fired for any other cause, any other social cause that they described to, and then
We don't
mentioned
know if
that
they're
the
going to get fired either, though. He
no, no,
just
no,
said
no.
not to.
Yeah, okay, but you just said that's a possibility if you're, but again, nobody there was no restriction whatsoever for any other social cause except for this one. So by explicitly saying that you cannot mention PlayStation by saying respect the opposite opinion, he was taking a stance there. He was taking a stance there that this is apparently an issue where clearly that he has some sort of financial interest to not take an explicit position on that.
I
And
mean,
yeah, it,
it's
But
clearly
hold up,
controversial.
would he not lose financial because he didn't make a stance then?
Well, now he can because he can then go both ways, right? That's the thing. But in the end, it's coming back to bite him because people are upset about it, and including his employees. And there's I think the issue. Sure, there's going to be fans saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to boycott PlayStation," blah blah blah. Yeah, okay, that's not gonna make a difference. But it's going to make a difference if that causes unrest within the company, within the especially the studios they acquired, like Bungie. I mean, they didn't spend billions of dollars for attention fees for nothing because they were afraid. They want to be sure that when they acquire a company, developers are not going to leave. Say, yeah, look, we want to be independent, or we don't want to work for PlayStation, and and they know that they can't miss those developers because software or game developers, they're scarce at this point in time. Ubisoft has issues with developers leaving because of the shit that happened when their company haven't addressed, and they have issues meeting deadlines for their games. That has an actual impact. So you do want to retain those those developers. And if those developers feel like, okay, because not Bungie has explicitly made a statement like, okay, we are absolutely pro-choice. We do not are not happy with this ruling, and we will not be silenced. Even if the deal with PlayStation is going through. But if PlayStation is going to play hardball, say, yeah, look, you're part of us, though. We're going to tell you what you can have an opinion on and what not. Yeah, people might walk. And then you
Definitely.
might end up buying a cardboard box that good luck making all those dozen of servers games if you don't have the people who can make those games for you. And there's the risk, and there's I think that Jim Ryan completely screwed the pooch because the best thing he could have done if he didn't want to make a statement about, yeah, don't fucking make a statement about it. Don't mention it, don't talk about it.
Well, to be to
Because,
be sure, he didn't make a public statement. Someone leaked the
yeah,
document that was
but
internal.
yeah, but dude, he could have imagined that when he does something like that, people are gonna leak that. Jason Schreier is gonna find out, so he should have known that that was gonna happen. So I don't
Okay,
think
but
that's an
I need to stop for one simple second to make a few things very clear. One, you have made a few assumptions on stuff concerning what Jim Ryan intent is versus what he actually said. That's one. Number two, you are not the only person that's making this assumption. A lot of people in PlayStation are doing that the same exact same thing because you have literally quote unquote Bungie literally coming out and said they're not gonna be silent even by PlayStation even if this deal have not to go through. That's
Omar, don't you see the issue with that? Even if you want to argue that he didn't say anything wrong, if people within your company, if entire studios are making the assumption that's what he said, then you made a mistake. Then you have an
but
issue. Then
that's
you're not
what we
clear with your communication. And the thing
that
is, I'm not making assumptions here. I'm taking what he said, and I'm reading what his intent was. Right? It's
yeah
not
but
hard to figure that out. I mean, you don't make that statement just to, oh, respect his opinions. That was not what he wanted to say. He was trying to find a political way to say the fact that, okay, yeah, we don't want to burn ourselves on this. We don't want to make a choice here. And it's sure he cannot censor people individually, but he just don't wants the PlayStation brand to be associated with that. And this is
So let
where
me
you make.
ask you this: do you
but
believe
hold
that
up
there are people that work? There are people that work for PlayStation that are pro-life.
I'm well, I certainly you cannot discount that. You cannot know for certain
So
that they do.
if I tell them to simply respect each other's opinions and keep it moving in an internal memo, specifically, not a statement to the public, because that's not what that was, and but despite all the my doggy got sick thing or whatever the fuck he said, that shit was dumb.
Yeah, but
But
imagine I know where you're going at, but imagine with say with Black Lives Matter. Imagine he said, okay, yeah, I know there might be people in the company who believe in all lives matter or blue lives matter, but we
that
should
wasn't.
respect their opinion.
There's no alternative to Black Lives Matter though. That's just people being stupid, inventing shit. Black
But
Lives Matter was just one thing.
there was also, yeah, well, maybe you have a different opinion, but in my opinion and many people's opinion, there's also no alternative there because it's a choice between respecting women's rights to have control over their body or being for forced birth. That's
let
all there
me
is to it.
let me ask something. Let me say something, and I'm curious about you guys' opinion, because clearly chat have their own opinion about this topic. If
Mhm.
a if a person like the head of Bungie, I forgot if he's exactly the head of Bungie or not. When he tweets something, what he tweeted out, is that not then clear case of miscommunication at least with PlayStation on that front? When you have,
No, they made that statement for their own studio.
but they literally said we were not gonna be silent even by PlayStation. even if that meant that the deal's not.
I mean, they just stated that whether or not PlayStation was even going to do anything, like that's what I'm saying. Like that's a preemptive like shit talking. Hey, we also won't do this if this.
But
Like PlayStation
hold
didn't
on.
do anything.
Now I'm gonna need to stop you for one simple second. What if, and I'm going with what if because we don't know either way, PlayStation did say the MMO say you're not supposed to talk about this topic.
But we don't know, so I'm
We
not going
don't
to
know.
assume the same way I don't assume anything about
We
any
don't
of the
know.
other topics we had a conversation about. I'm not.
That,
I refuse to assume. I'm not going to do that. So I
but
won't even entertain
but
that.
then that's why I said that's why I stopped you when you said this is a preventive stuff.
No,
We
I'm
don't
saying
know.
that is they made a statement in regards to the fact that it's preemptive because PlayStation hadn't said anything. They haven't even been
But
acquired
again,
yet. That's what I mean. It's
we
preemptive.
don't know
Wait,
if they said it
wait,
in
Omar.
private. We don't
Preemptive.
know.
Wait a minute. You're not listening. It is preemptive because they are not acquired. Are you hearing what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
So they're not acquired. Therefore, it is preemptive of the deal of them being acquired, is what I'm saying. Them saying they will not be is a statement of forward or something that is yet to happen. The way they stated it is a statement of something that has not happened. Should somebody do something in the future, we will not be silenced. Not an active statement of hey, someone tried to do it. Even if this happens, we won't be. That's why I'm saying it's preemptive. So that's not an assumption. That's a statement of the way that they chose to word it and the fact that they have not been acquired, therefore they couldn't be even if they wanted to. The acquisition has not completed yet. That's why I said it's preemptive.
At the very end, do we expect now PlayStation to put a statement? Because almost every company under the sun did, including Xbox. I've yet to see Nintendo doing so, and
Nintendo ain't
uh,
shit.
almost all PlayStation studios have come in defense of women's rights.
Sony as a whole has put themselves on the list to actively assist
Yeah, seen it.
any of their teams that any of the women that need to have the procedure done to go to another state or whatnot to have the procedure done. So they regardless of
I don't think
whatever
PlayStation's
statement.
going to make an official statement now.
Yeah, like I don't even think to me everybody always wants to say actions rather than words. So the action already happened. They're actively on that list. That's more than a statement to me. That already says something. You did something. You see what I'm saying? So
I
people
f-
can't backtrack their words and be like, "Oh, I want the word." No, fuck all that. They did it already. You see what I'm saying? Like
I
I'm never
understand.
going back on that. People always want the action, and PlayStation, not even PlayStation, Sony as an entirety, because people always forget Sony is the parent company. Sony, the overall entire company, has already been put on the list as actively assisting women who need the procedure done and need to go to another state. They've already made that statement to me. Yeah.
Morgan, what's your thought on this jumble mess?
I mean, listen,
If
uh,
you don't want to give me your opinion, feel free to do so, because I don't want you to get a
nah,
headache
I
out of it.
mean, like, it is what it is. Like, what are you asking me specifically? Like, what I think about like
Well,
PlayStation?
basically, PlayStation have yet to make almost like a stance on it. Do you expect them to make one? I know that what's called, and I just said that Sony put themselves on the list. I read that and shout out to them for that. But when you have every company under the sun almost put a statement, you would expect something like that from PlayStation as well. Or are they afraid of?
Personally, personally, I don't think they're gonna make a statement, and if they do, it's going to be out of pressure, and at that point will you accept that? Like, it's going to be like, I wouldn't think it was genuine. Like, I would think, okay, everybody else did it, so PlayStation felt the pressure, and then they eventually did it. So most people aren't going to accept that anyway. They're going to still be mad, like, well, why did it take you so long? La, da, da, da. So I mean, at this point, it's just like, no, I don't think they're going to do it. I'm fine with them being like the studios themselves, like that's what I've always said. I'm a fan of PlayStation Studios, okay, and the studios themselves have already taken their stances. They've already taken a side. Um, Sony themselves have already said, like, on a list, like I said, like, and they already said that they're going to be taking care of like any women who feel like they need to get the procedure done. I think Microsoft came out and said they're doing the same thing too. But it's just like, no, I don't think they're gonna make a stance. Like I said, if they do, it's gonna be because of pressure, and at that point, nobody's gonna care.
Yeah, if it's out of pressure, then it
People are
loses
gonna
its
be like, "This is
its
false. Like
value.
y'all just doing it because everybody else is doing it." So it's just
Yeah.
like, well, okay, well then, what's the point?
Okay, gotcha. Chris, your thought?
Chris left.
Oh, he left. Okay.
Yeah, he left a while ago.
Oh, I
But
didn't know.
but yeah. So my other thing to you, does it if every first party studio underneath PlayStation has given a stance, does it really matter at that point?
But I mean, because the PlayStation is those studios. Like, let's
Yeah,
be
like
very real. PlayStation is the entity of all these studios, and if all these studios have already taken a stance, then my thoughts is PlayStation has already taken a stance because all the studios have come together and said, we're pro-choice. So it sounds
yeah,
to me like PlayStation's pro-choice.
Look,
whether
I would.
PlayStation says it or not, the PlayStation, like I'm not so hung up on this thing like everybody else and their grandmother. Everybody underneath you, that entity that makes up your company, has said they're pro-choice, and so you're pro-choice. But I don't really care whether you want to be or not. Like,
To me, what is very weird is Xbox took a stand. The official Xbox account took a stand. So it's not like they're being shy on not saying
I don't think
anything.
that's weird
Which is,
because
sorry?
no, I said I don't think that's weird. I mean, knowing Xbox and their brand, what they are, like, they're trying to come across as this, family friendly, we're all inclusive, we're about everybody type of company. So I mean, it doesn't really surprise me that they would make an official statement. Like, that's kind of like what they're portraying. I'm not saying like that they're doing it falsely. I'm just saying that's their
That's
that's
their
kind of their
motto.
company.
Gotcha.
That's their company motto, basically.
Okay. And I'm gonna link this conversation to what happened with.
Yeah, can I say one more thing on, because
But
this does show that, I mean, that this entire statement was a mistake on Jim Ryan's side, because in the end he didn't have a choice, because all his studios were
Yeah.
here,
outspoken pro-choice, and as a company, indeed, they have committed that they're gonna cover the travel costs if any woman working for their company has to go to another state to get an abortion, which in the end means you have taken a position, because even if you happen to have some people in your company who happen to be I'll call them forced birth, because I think pro-life is a euphemism. Um, you know, they don't have a choice. I mean, they have to accept that they're working for a company that clearly is pro-choice. That clearly allows women within their company and supports them to have an abortion. So in the end, it came back to bite him, because it wasn't a completely unnecessary statement that only caused friction and only caused his employees to be upset, the media to have a field day, and in the end it was unnecessary, because he didn't have a choice. Which is, I mean, again, we can. I don't want to open up the entire conversation again. I just do realize that even if they're CEOs and they're uh, should know what they're doing, they can say things that are wrong. They can make mistakes. They can fuck up. And I think in this case he did, because he didn't expect, obviously, that it was going to be leaked. He didn't expect the reactions we're going to get. And in the end, he did it all for nothing, because we see the result.
here's the
I do
thing.
agree with oh, my bad,
No,
Omar. I do agree with
go ahead, ladies first.
No, you're good. like it is kind of funny going from Jim's statement to this. I do think PlayStation Studios probably did it on purpose. Like the domino effect of all the studios coming out and being pro-choice was probably reactionary to Jim. But I think what would be funny, like not funny, but I would be curious to see if Jim himself has anything to say, like if he sent out another internal email or if he's gonna make like a maybe like a public statement or something. I would be more curious about Jim's statement than like an official PlayStation statement.
Yeah. So here's the thing. His comment was, here's the thing. I think he didn't uh, take too much effort, and also no, that's not something. What I want to say is his comment was, so we don't know what was happening in PlayStation at the time. I would assume there was some conflict between pro-choice and pro-life, or whatever you want to call them, and he felt the need to put out a statements like that.
That's an assumption, Omar.
Yeah, but I literally just said I assume. I am assuming. I said that. That's an assumption, just so people know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
That, which is why his statement was quote unquote almost like he didn't put too much energy into it, because you can see he started talking about his dogs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't
Like
know
the,
who his PR people are. Like who greenlit this
so,
message?
do you know the crazy part is? People actually took from the statement that was the dogs that if you don't do what I asked you to do, then you're gonna be fired or something like that. Like there are little people that took that statement. Me, I never did that.
This is
The,
why this is the difference in an internal memo versus a public statement.
which is why I say his statement was literally internally. It's a memo internally between colleagues and developers and
Yeah,
stuff
trust me.
like that.
There has been internal memos in many companies that I worked on that we would never release publicly.
Precisely, which is again.
Number one, whoever did that, because it could perfectly have grounds for being fucking fired,
Oh yeah,
and they'd be completely in the right because that's a complete violation of contract for multiple reasons. But that gets into a whole bunch of other things about security and a bunch of other shit that PlayStation has other or Sony as a whole has issues with that open up breaches. And as someone who's studying
Look,
information security,
Jason said
Lord.
he got his connects. All right, don't worry about all that.
yeah.
Oh yeah, Jason
He
is
said, I
definitely
got my
on it.
connects. Don't question it.
Um, and the reason why I
Yeah,
started this
but
topic,
there's sorry, there's also, of course, the notion that never release an internal memo that you would be embarrassed by if it ever got released.
Oh yeah. I mean, I agree.
which is why I truly believe this is an assumption, of course, that he didn't put too much energy into it and thought into it, and you
Well,
clearly
that's an
That's
issue by
very clear.
itself.
no, but you clearly can see that because he started talking about his puppies,
I was like, huh?
almost, almost like he wanna try to change the
I
He
mean,
was
subject
trying.
in a
He
way.
was trying to
a
lighten the
weird
mood. He's just
segue.
like wrong place,
Yeah,
wrong time. Yeah.
yeah, like
But
bro,
anyway,
weird
talk about
segue.
your thing about the dog.
But I
Yeah.
actually, the reason why I started this because it felt weird for me. Activision put out a statement that they are all for women rights and all that jazz. Fine. So they riddle me this. And chat, feel free to jump in because you were clearly jump in on Weave Neck this entire conversation.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Forgetful said it. People will be
Pres-
upset regardless whether they make another
No, but
statement or not.
they were respectful, but they did say that he was making an assumption, which is again was precisely they didn't they were not disrespectful. Otherwise, I would have turned them down. Activision.
he would never have made that statement if there was no financial reason for it.
We were gonna move on from this topic because I really want to focus on what Activision did. Activision did that statement, and then in the same breath, their investors opted to vote to keep Bobby Kutkik, whatever you want to call them. No, but this is what he's saying, but this is what he's saying. The hand you do, the hand you don't see, or something like that. It's
Oh
like,
man. Omar said,
how
speaking of bad CEOs.
Hmm.
make it make sense for me. Come on, Morgan, you're a lady. Go
I
ahead.
mean, I can make it make sense for you. It's about the money. Like, what? They don't give a fuck like about what he's doing. It's causing internal strife. All they know is Activision is making more money than they ever have. All the microtransactions, all the practices that they're carrying on is making all the stockholders hella bank right now. So why the hell would they replace him? If I guess technically, like, it's not been proven that he's kind of really done anything, so they're not going to do anything. Like, they're like, he's fine where he is. They're making their money. They're all they see is stocks going
Alleg-
up. So it's like, why they're not going to do that? Like, come on now.
allegedly, he threatened one
Yeah,
of
it's
his
all every.
uh,
So
no, no, no,
was
no.
it was it
Allegedly, he threatened one of his coworkers with murder or something like that.
yeah, wasn't it like, was it Activision? I read this article where they did an internal investigation on themselves and found
Oh
themselves innocent.
yeah, yeah,
Oh
but
yeah, yeah.
It's
that's
like, what?
so laughable that I didn't even think too much of it. But
Like,
with
yeah,
this,
we reviewed ourselves and we have found ourselves
but
innocent. Okay.
with
Hmm.
this one hurt more because these are investors.
Oh yeah,
You
and they
wanna have your name reporting
look.
a dude that have allowed for all this shit to happen.
These investors do not care about their names; they care about their wallets. Okay. Like, who's gonna be in that seat that's gonna make us the most money? And Bobby's been doing that, and that's all they care about. It's sad. Yes, it's bad. It's horrible. I don't know if Xbox can do anything to change that when, like, they get merged into Xbox. Hopefully they can, but them investors, all they see is green,
I
so they
mean,
don't give a fuck.
we're gonna talk about 343, so no, I don't
Oh
think it's
man,
gonna happen. What is NFL? Is that the football league or something like that? I'm asking better reap.
NFL,
Yeah, he said that's
yeah, the
NFL
National
logic.
Football League, yeah,
Okay,
National Football League.
gotcha. So if you leak something, you get fired in NFL. That's what it is.
Oh yeah. I mean, companies don't play about that shit, bro.
Hmm.
Like, if you're under contract, like, and you get found out, like, number one, because you could be a potential risk for other things. It doesn't matter what you leak. If something is company only, like, I could be fired for that literally any day.
Okay. What your thought on that? There is no assumptions. This is literally what happened.
The
On
Bobby
what?
Kotick thing.
About
On
because
Activision saying they stand with women, and in the same breath they have their investor vote to keep Bobby.
uh, I mean, it's clear as day. They don't give a fuck about women. They only give a fuck about money.
Hmm.
Which is why I find it fucking weird that a lady left Santa fucking Monica to go to Activision Blizzard. I mean,
I mean, maybe different work environments are okay. I don't know.
no,
Maybe.
because Blizzard is also accused of all this stuff. The entire Activision as a company as a whole is accused of this stuff.
Yeah,
And
I don't know.
and when they did that internal investigation and found nothing wrong, that's how you know nothing gonna ever change.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um. Weep. You wanna add something to it or no?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to add. I mean, it doesn't surprise me in the least that they would do this. And yeah, yeah. I mean, I know all the Xbox fanboys were hoping that the procurement, the acquisition of Activision mean that Bobby would be fired, but not so sure anymore about that. I mean, I
Now
think
that
that
he is
employees.
elected, yeah, correct. Now that he's elected, can Phil Spencer fire him?
I think it's going to be more difficult, and I think the employees that were worried that the acquisition would actually bury, the
Mhm.
accusations and the investigations, and effectively mean nothing would change. Yeah, maybe they were right.
I
Oh
was.
yeah.
I am. No, because I never felt that's gonna change once Microsoft acquires them, because, yeah, I'm not gonna leave it at that. Innate.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear. I mean, Bobby Kotick is clearly a fucking asshole um, on several accounts and has been caught up in multiple issues with their, women employees and whatnot. So, I mean, he's the perfect candidate for needing to get the fuck out of your company. But
Mm,
like Morgan said, they don't care. And I mean, shareholders statistically don't care. Most people don't even know who the rest of these people are, to tell you the truth, um, that are in these shareholder, positions anyway. So these people usually don't give a shit because a lot of them are fairly anonymous or whatnot, or non-famous people who are just ridiculously wealthy either way. Um, so I mean, yeah, I mean, I think keeping him makes that statement clear that they just don't give a fuck. Personally, I don't think I don't think he has anything to do with any of their success. To be honest, like he's not implementing anything personally that all those studios couldn't do on their own. So I think keeping him is ultimately an irrelevant gesture anyway. That something they could have afforded to just get rid of him, his overpaid ass, regardless. But here we are. So.
mm-hmm. And the final topic, very quick one, is one of no, he's big. He is not some one of. Give me a second. I need to name him. I like putting people on blast. That's why. Please. Oh, I know where I saved it. Let me go to Vitamin G podcast, because that's where I find it. I saved it. So, um, Frank O'Connor, a franchise creative director for Halo, was banned from Reset Era and NeoGAF for racist joke. His name there was Stinkless. He'd been banned a few times before his permanent ban. Shout out to at Haley X24 for exposing him. So, to sum it up, very simple. He is racist, he is bigoted, he is a sexist person, he is, what's called, bigoted toward Muslims. So, he also, disrespected Christians. So, you name it, this dude have pulled it off. So, a few weeks ago, 343 got caught using the word bonobo or something like that, which is basically an ape that only has sex for the sake of pleasure and not to produce, and the almost like the insinuation was he was doing it toward what's called black African American, that they're quote unquote, and here again I'm saying quote unquote apes. Um, at first, what's called 343 acted like this was a mistake and quote unquote corrected it, and with this revelation now, clearly this was no mistake, this was intended. that was purposely done and maliciously what's called implemented. The question is, will he be fired? Innate.
Uh,
And what are your thoughts on someone as big as him being banned from two different what's called places until we working on
Online.
343 for this entire time?
I mean, I don't know about him having anything to do with the bonobo thing.
That's
I
assumption
know.
on our part, but I mean, he's
Yeah,
clearly a
I mean,
racist person.
yeah, I mean, him individually having to deal with that, if all that actually checks out, because like I said, I wouldn't know. I don't go to Reset Era, period. So, yeah, I don't know. But I mean, if all that checks out, I mean, and they can verify that information, then I mean, yeah, clearly, if that violates the policy for him on his contract, then yeah, they need to get rid of him.
Did you read
Um,
the thread?
can they afford to? No, I did not because I
I
really
read
don't
it.
care.
That's why
Yeah,
I read it.
yeah, I didn't read it. So, but if everything is verifiable, you know what I'm saying, and they would, I would personally distance myself from that. But whether or not they can afford to, I don't know because I don't know what he does for them. So, I
So
mean, if they
apparently
pay him,
he is what's called he is a franchise creative director, whatever that means.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know what that person does or what he's in the middle of for the company. So, someone, I mean, depending on what stage of the project or whatever he's doing for them, it might not be something where they can immediately do that. So, I don't know. But I mean, as soon as possible, I would distance myself from that individual and let them go. Personally, as far as the other thing that you mentioned, though, like I said, with the bonobo thing, I know some people were talking about it really half-assed. Like Porter Rock mentioned it on his show, but he was assuming a bunch of shit when he talked about it because he was like, "Oh, they could have just said that and renamed the internal tool and all this other stuff." And I would agree with that, except I seen old data showing that the tool was always called that internally, like for years, like when Bungie was creating Halo. So it has nothing to do specifically with being named that Juneteenth thing. Um, and to someone that has worked on other programs and programmed for stuff. Yeah, I mean, personally, I think someone did it specifically because obviously the only thing that's ever happened to be the Juneteenth thing. That's just too ridiculously coincidental. But I'm not saying that accidents don't happen at the same time. It might be a series. It literally. I mean, there's a series about a series of unfortunate events. I mean, it happens, right? You know, um, and stuff does get defaulted to and named if you forget to do it. So if in that tool is how you create the banners and you didn't name it or you left it as the default and it may default to the name of the program, which does happen in various programs, um, it could have just been ridiculous. But I just find that one specific thing being named that, like when you've put out multiple emblems and other stuff and that's never happened, is just extraordinarily odd. So yeah, somebody clearly was fucking around where they shouldn't have. Whether or not they can tell who did it or whatever and whatnot, I don't know. So yeah, that's a whole nother can of worms. But yeah, as far as the director or whatever, yeah, I mean, I would cut ties with that as soon as possible.
Gotcha. Morgan?
Um, yeah, I read the thread and seen the things that he's posted, and yeah, he's a racist. Um, yeah, he's sexist too. Yeah, and it has been verified that that's his account. He's posted that on his Twitter. Um, so yeah, 343. They already have enough bad light on them. Honestly, this would them firing him. would work in their favor. Like they need some good publicity at this point. Because the way he talks on these online forums is honestly unacceptable. He said some foul shit, some really foul shit, and he needs to be fired immediately. I don't really care if it's old or not. Like he hasn't he hasn't apologized for it. He hasn't come out and said, I used to say these type of things and yada yada. He might now because it got leaked and he's on like blast for it now. But at this point, it's just like I think 343 needs to remove him from his position. It would only work in favor because the longer they hold off, the worse it's going to look for them. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Weeb?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't dived too much into what exactly he said, but from what I've seen, yeah, it's probably better that Microsoft distance themselves from this person. Yeah, about the Juneteenth thing. Yeah, I think I'm with Nate here. Yes, it's obviously plausible that because the tool was there, that was the cause, and but yeah, it is an awful coincidence that happens now. So probably need somebody, some practical joker with a racist bone, decide to have a laugh and then blame it on the tool. Probably.
Gotcha. With that being said, for me, I hope he get fired, and I hope he never find any job in this industry. People like him, we don't need. Thank you all for coming through. This is the end of the show. Shout out to chat. Let me read everyone that came through. Fresh, the Forgetful Gamer. Shout out to Viper Reeb and some dude called Nate. We have Seattle Chef. We have It Me Baby. Just shout out to everyone that came through. It was a great conversation. And let's hope next week we get some news. With that being said, let's get into our outros. Weep, where people can find you.
Me, yeah, they can find me on Twitter as the Weep Sheriff at Infinite Rhizome, and on YouTube Blue Rhizome and Otter Nation.
Otter Nation.
Morgan, where people can find you.
Yeah, people, you can find me on Twitter at Chill Bandit. But thanks everybody for coming through. Thank you, chat. Thanks to the panel. Chris left, but it's been great day, great topics. Discussing gaming, discussing politics, human rights, I should say. But yeah, see you guys next Saturday.
And Nate, where people can find you.
Yeah. Online at The Real Nate, on Twitter. PSN and Nate, The Real Nate everywhere else. Also at the ramen shop, because I'm about to make it happen. I'm about to be in that motherfucker like an episode of Naruto. You know what I'm saying? I want it so bad right now. Yeah, and somebody just posted a picture.
Get a room, you and ramen.
Man, I'm telling you, I'm about to tear it up. You know what I'm saying? They might have to kick me out. Shit, I wanted it since yesterday, and now somebody on my timeline also posted that they got ramen, and I found a new ramen spot that's like 15 minutes from my house. I'm about to make it happen, man. Woo. Yep.
Okay. So, get on the sticks. Shout out to you. I've seen you, but I forgot to give you a shout out. As for me, people can find me at Carb_Chab on Twitter, and Anime Squad on here every Friday 5 p.m. It's standard time. Next week we really want to talk about the chapter because some additional information have surfaced. And Vitamin G podcast every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. With that being said, shout out to the people that came through. Shout out to chat. Was very active today. Mad at Weeb. That was fun. And yeah, we're out of here.
Right?
Peace.